All right, so this is the third week of Introduction to Greek 1. Everybody should be having their books now, Essentials of New Testament Greek. Hey, Summers, we have gone through the first couple of chapters very quickly, because again, we're trying to get this as quick as we can to get on into the part that really matters. I'm going to kind of go back over everything. And I mentioned just a moment ago, and I did not record this, but I am recording it now. By the end of next week, I'd like to be through all the first, second, and as much of the third lesson as you possibly can in the workbook. So again, if you're still waiting on the workbook, I understand that. We go through the workbook as well as the book. It's because the workbook is pointing out some things the book doesn't. The book emphasizes things that the workbook doesn't. So trying to get both of these at the same time will help us to work it out. All right. The questions are pretty easy in the workbook. If you went through the first chapter or so, the first chapter is mainly dealing with learning how to write the letters. And again, in the workbook, it gives you the what I call the nursery school, the first grade school of the lines with the broken line between it to kind of help you to do that. So again, know all the letters, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, and be able to say them, be able to know how to pronounce them as we were trying to do last week. Again, the first lesson is mainly about how to write the letters, learning what the 7 Greek vowels are. What are they? Alpha, epsilon, iota, eta, omicron, upsilon, and omega. Yeah, I know I'm going too fast because I've got, I got a lot of ground to cover here. Okay. Which ones are always short? Epsilon and omicron are always short. Eta and omega are always long. And the alpha, the iota, and the upsilon may be long or short, okay? Now, the reason that comes into play is when you're starting to deal with accents. And you've got to be able to know that to deal with the accents, and we're going to try to start covering some of that tonight. What is a diphthong? Two vowels.
Two sounds and
close together, right? So you have alpha, iota, okay, all right. See, sometimes I'm still going to do this. Epsilon, iota, omicron, iota, upsilon, iota, alpha, upsilon, epsilon, upsilon, and omicron, upsilon, all right? And again, the 2 irregular diphthongs are eta, omega, and upsilon, omega. And again, you sound these 2 letters out very closely, AO and UO, okay? So that gives us distinct sound, all right? What is the iota subscript? Right, it's underneath the alpha, the eta, and the omega. Okay, good. It's underneath that. And again, you would transliterate that. And what do I mean by transliteration? You're writing it out in English. So if you got an alpha, you would write an A. You would have an iota, you would write an I. All right? So you transliterate it as I, A, and Oi. All right? We talked about last time there's 17 consonants in the Greek language. 3 classes. There's the liquids, the mute, and sibilants. The liquids are very easy flow, lambda. That's easy, okay? Lambda. And by the way, I'm going through the 3rd page of the Greek workbook here, okay? So if you want to follow along in the Greek workbook, this book as well. So we're going through here. I'm on page 3 there. So the liquid consonants are lambda, mu, nu, and rho. And rho looks like our what? P, right. So be careful. Yeah. Whenever you're transliterating, you don't confuse that with a P, all right? All right. So the liquid consonants are easy flow of breath, lambda, mu, nu, and ro. The mutes are pronounced by closing your mouth for just a moment and then suddenly releasing the sound. And that would be blepa, okay, b, beta. All right. And then what we talked about earlier, the sibilants would be the ones that would have the S sound in them. Sigma, zeta, chi, or psi, and psi, okay? Those would be the others. Now, again, what we want you to do in that first lesson is, again, just write and write and write, and the more you practice it, the better off you are. Chapter 2 of the workbook. And again, we are going to go back into this. We went into this a little bit last week, but in the workbook, we're on page 5 now, all right? And in the book, we are in page 7, all righty? So we started learning some vocabulary last week. What is the Greek word for I lead? I'll go. There you go. Good job. Good job. What is the Greek word for I hear? Anybody? Everybody needs to be speaking now, okay? The Greek word for I hear. Akuo. And remember last week I talked about the idea that that word is used in our language with acoustics. Acoustics. Akuo. Akuo. Hearing. All right? Blepo. What does that mean?
I see.
I see. Right. I see. Blepo, I see. Echo. Huh? I have. Very good. Very good. And again, you need to go through these words and pronounce them and pronounce them and pronounce them over and over, because again, the more you say it, the more you'll be able to understand it. And then luo. Now, luo is going to be very important because we're going to use this particular word to start writing or learning all the verb endings. Okay. Now, the verb endings are going to tell us a lot of things. We'll get into this in the lesson tonight. I'm trying to go through this very quickly because we've kind of covered a lot of this. But these verb endings are very important. If you're looking on page 7 of the book, you'll see that he emphasizes the words in the left column are verbs and those on the right are nouns. Okay? What is a noun? It tells a person, place, or thing, right? What are verbs? Action words, right. So again, those are the simple way, and again, to be able to really understand this, the better you understand English, it would help. So you have angelos. Now at the end of, if you look at that second list of little names there, angelos, adelphos, doulos, harpos, and logos. Everybody say this. Angelos, why do we say Why do we say Because of the double gamma. That's very good. That's right. All right, angelos, that's simple to even remember because it's what? Angel and a messenger. Adelphos. Come on, everybody say it. Adelphos.
Adelphos.
Adelphos, very good. That's a brother. And I'm pointing out last week, Philadelphia comes from that word. Okay. Doulos.
Doulos.
That's a servant or a slave. And again, what would be a slave? One who does his master's will. Paul would call himself a bondservant. He would sell himself to Jesus. And think about it in that respect. We all are bondservants in that respect because Jesus' blood, we have been sold to him. So his will is our will, right? So that's the idea there. So again, because we're living in a country that's done away with slavery, except as I pointed out last week, unfortunately, the sexual slave business in this country, we really don't grasp what slavery is. They did. They understood. Because Rome had 60 million slaves at that point in time. All right, karpos. Karpos. Everybody say it. Karpos.
Karpos.
And logos.
Logos.
Now, every one of those words has, and we'll learn this, but the Greek has the masculine, feminine words, and neuter words. Now, we don't think about these, but most every other language does this. Spanish does this. French does this. They will have feminine words, so you have to have feminine adjectives. You have to have feminine modifiers of some sort. Now, I know you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, what is this though? But in the Greek, when you have the ho like that, that means it is a masculine noun. The eta, that would be a feminine noun. And then to, that is the neuter noun. So you could always tell whether it is a masculine noun, a feminine noun, or a neuter noun because of this. This is the article be. So if you see ho, angelos, you would know that what? This is a masculine noun, and if the word, or if that ho is there in front of it, you would say the angel. The angel. In other situations, you might just have angelos. So it's not any specific angel, it's just an angel. It would what we would do. Now, how do we say that in English? A, or an, right? An angel, or, okay, and how would we do that? Think about that. When do we say a? Remember in English, when did we say a? A dog, a cat. Usually we would use this little, what we call the indefinite article. This is what this is called, the indefinite article. We would use this. We would use the a for the word that follows, as long as that word that follows begins with a consonant. A cat, a dog, a cow, right? Now, if the next word starts with a vowel, then we would say an, right? An actor. You know what I'm trying to say? Now, why? Well, think about this in, and this is going to come into play in a few minutes whenever we keep looking at this, that we add that and to make the word sound, or the sentence sound better, right? He went and talked to an angel about whatever, all right? That makes it an angel. If we say a angel, then that's automatically, all of our senses, because we've been in English, what? Our senses just get, whoa, 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 that's not right. So you see, you have the Greek article, and then you have one without the article. So again, you have this in the Greek just as we do in the English. But depending on the sentence, we don't put in, if we're translating it, we don't necessarily put in an indefinite article. See, this is where the Jehovah's Witness made the error in John chapter 1 at verse 1, where it says, you remember the last part of it as we read last week, in arche, hein ho logos, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and God was the Word. They say that because there's no definite article there, then you can translate that, a God was the Word. The problem with that is a God, where the whole context was talking about God, and all of a sudden there is a God was the Word. And that fits the Jehovah's Witnesses' idea that Jesus is not God in the flesh, that he was a God. And you read more of their literature, they begin to think that he was the Archangel Michael in some situations. All right? So that's important to understand. So just to get right now, you've got masculine noun, feminine noun, neuter noun. You will know which one they are by the definite article after. And ho, hey, and to would be the definite article. Before it's over with, you will learn all of this, all right? And then you will go from there. All right? On page 7, I've got underlined on the second part, 2.2, pronunciation and transliteration. The system of pronunciation given in lesson 1 is the Erasmian system, named for the great classical scholar Erasmus. So it doesn't correspond precisely to ancient or modern pronunciation, but it's widely used by those who study ancient Greek, and so that's the reason what we're trying to do. I talked last week about the 2 breathings, right? The smooth breathing and the rough breathing. What do you do when you have a rough breathing? Make a H sound, sound, okay? Rhema, all right? And that's going to be dependent upon where, again, it depends on that. So always remember to look for those breathing. The smooth breathing is just like that, and the rough breathing is going to be looking something like this. Like I say, the way I would always remember is a little C, okay? A little C. And if you have angelos, So it's just going to be, you're not even going to say nothing. Here, you have rhema. All right? You will always have a rough breathing in front of a rho. So it would always say pro, okay? And it actually makes the RH sound, rho, okay? So rhema. All right? So I just want to remember that. Again, every Greek word begins with a vowel or diphthong must have one of these breathing marks. And again, as you're reading this, that will make a difference in how you say it. So the breathing mark is placed over the single vowel or over the second vowel of a diphthong, as in anthropos and autos. Anthropos. Everybody say anthropos.
Anthropos.
Does it have a rough sound or not? Does it have a smooth or a harsh breathing? Anthropos. It's a smooth breathing. Very good. It's a smooth breathing. All right. Altos. Again, there's no huh sound, so it's going to be a smooth breathing. And again, the more you say these words, that's the reason why I'm trying to get you to say the words as much as you can, because the more you say them, the more you get them in your mind. The punctuation mark, we talked about that. The period, the comma are the same with us. The colon equals the semicolon. What does the question mark look like? Semicolon. It's an English semicolon. So whenever you see the end of a sentence, you see a semicolon, that is a question mark in the Greek, okay? So keep that in mind. What do we use apostrophes for? Possessive pronouns, that's exact, or possessive noun. But we also use them a lot of times like the word can't. Now what does can't mean? It's short for
cannot.
Right? So we delete these two words and we put an apostrophe. Same thing happens in the Greek. This is called elision. All right? When you drop a couple of letters, it's called elision. And again, I don't know if we remember this in school, in grade school or not, but we're taught about this letter dropping out. It's called elision, and we always put an apostrophe. You do the same thing in the Greek. You will find that some of the letters will pop out, and you will find this. Now, what's also interesting about this is sometimes you have, so we understand that, so the two words are pronounced as one. So you have two words like, let's say this a minute. All right. Again, this would be, let's see. Oops. All right. Apo, say it with me. Apo, altu. Apo, altu. Okay. Now we'll learn what these mean in a minute. Sometimes this will elide here, and it will say ap, altu. Why? Again, as you're reading through it, it's like in our situation, they drop the letter out, but we know that there was a letter there, so it makes it sound better. Ap-al-tu is better than apo-al-tu. Okay? So they will do this. Sometimes they would add two words together, like kai. And by the way, kai is it's going to be a key word that we will learn. Kai, ego. Okay? Kai. There you go. Yeah. Kai, go. So sometimes it drops a couple of letters out, and you have it like this. It becomes kago. So the kai, and so those two will let it drop out. Kai, go, kago. All right? So this happens sometimes. Kayake becomes kakai. And then you have the diaresis, which is two letters above the word, where it means you say that. So look there in the bottom of paragraph 2, verse 5, you have a kayaku. Okay? A kayaku. So you're saying not only the alpha and the k and the alpha and the iota, but you're saying both of them instead of just saying a kayaku. It's kayaku. That's why we get the word akeia, in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 7. All right? Now, the thing that I was wanting us to key in on is the ideal of accents. In your workbook, he goes into more detail about the accents. The accents are important in knowing how to pronounce the word, all right? And so they spend a lot of time on this. So if you're in the workbook now, all right, on page 6 of the workbook, all right, so you're going through all of this. 261A1. How do you not determine the number of the syllables in a word? A Greek word has as many syllables as it has vowels and diphthongs. What's a diphthong? 2 vowels together. Very good. Like I, alpha iota, epsilon iota. Okay? So, 2 vowels of a diphthong make 1 syllable, not 2. There are no specific rules for dividing Greeks into syllables. Name 2 general rules. 2 consonants together are separated. So if we were writing the word angelos, again, keep using that word, angelos. Oh. By the way, when you're taking the test, make sure you get this right. When you're taking words or these tests on vocabulary, always write down whether they're masculine, feminine, or neuter. Okay? Always. Always, always. All right, so you have angelos. All right? So, angelos is a 3-syllable word. Now, what's so important about that? Well, these 3 syllables are important. You have and I want to stress this to you. I want to stress this to you in certain terms. I'm not going to get very picky about this when it comes to syllabification because this does become somewhat confusing. You have what you call the penult, the antepenult, and the ultima. The ultima would be the last syllable. The penult is the syllable before that, and the antepenult will be the one before that. No accent will go past this. So if you have a 4 or 5 syllable word, there will be no accent past this 3rd syllable here. None. The accents are the acute, the grave, and the circumflex. Remember, I talked about this during the first class. The acute always suggests the idea of a rising voice. The circumflex suggests you rise the voice and bring it down. The grave would always suggest the idea of you coming down on the voice. Okay? Now, there's some rules about this that you have to understand. First off, if it's a noun, then the accent will always try to go back to where it is in the nominative case. That's what's confusing because we haven't even covered that yet. Secondly, if it's a verb, it's going to have what they call a recessive accent, which means the accent is going to try to go back as far as it possibly can in the word. Now, the reason I'm not going to get that picky about this, except to say this, in some Greek words, the accent will make a difference in what the word means. So you have to realize that. Some words are only 2 letters. If it has an accent, it means one thing. If it has no accent whatsoever, then it means something totally different. Now, I just want you to be aware of that. I'm not going to grade you on accenting this whole thing, other than I want you to learn the accent as it is in the vocabulary, okay? So that's important for us to remember. Now, the reason why this is emphasized is because there are a lot of rules about this, and I'm not going to go into all those rules because I'll be honest with you. When I was first taking Greek years ago, this was in the 2nd chapter of my book as well, and they're going to kind of go over it more in detail in the 3rd chapter here. I struggled with accenting this word right all my life. I always have, okay? I never could really figure it out because the rules really was one of those things that I never could really grasp. If you go to, and I encourage you to do this, I'm going to give you some other things to look at too. Go ahead and write this down. Type in on your browser Daily Dose of Greek. Daily Dose of Greek. There is a Greek professor in one of the colleges that every day will send you, if you sign up for it, he will send you a verse of scripture in the Greek and show you how to translate it. He will talk about every word. He will talk about what every word is. Now, I kind of hesitate to tell you about it now because if you start watching this now, you're going to say, perfect passive participle, what in the world is he talking about? The reason I'm telling you about it now, however, is if you start going there now, then you can start listening to him over a period of time if you do it every day. And literally, the sentences only last, the videos last maybe 3 minutes a day. That's all they are. So get that daily dose of Greek, and that will help you. Also, go on the internet and find Machen New Testament Greek. In the first class that I was teaching, I was using that book for just a little bit to show you the Greek alphabet, waiting for y'all to get your books, okay? You can find this and download this in a PDF file. Now, like I said, this particular book was the one I used whenever I was going to school, and he spends the whole second chapter trying to explain how to do the syllables and how to accent each word. And I struggled with that, and I still struggle with that. But again, as I was pointing out earlier, we do not write accents in English now. We all know where to accent the word, right? We do it because we speak it day in and day out. The Greeks knew where to accent the word because they spoke it day in and day out. None of the old Greek texts have accent words or accents on any of the words. They just knew how to say it. Because they spoke it, they knew where the word was supposed to be accented. So I'm stressing that idea to you so that when you read the word, yes, always stress where the accent is. But I'm not going to be that terribly upset if you don't get it in the right place. You see what I'm trying to say? And I will, whenever we continue to go through here, I will try to show you how a couple of words that does make a difference. All right? But I'm just trying to tell you now. So if you want to go to J. Gresham Macham's New Testament Greek and plow through chapter 2 and learn how to get it, and you think you could teach it better, I'm ready for you to teach it. I will turn the class over to you, okay? I will turn the class over to you and let you explain it to us because, again, it's something I have struggled with all my life in all the Greek work that I have ever done. Any comments on that? Anybody want to say, well, you're not qualified to teach Greek then, okay? Well, all right, you just have to deal with what you have to deal with, okay? All right, so go there. Use every resource possible. I have tried to go plow through those chapters over and over and over again, but for some reason or another, one of these days, maybe if I do it after the 75th time, it'll click, but it's not clicked yet. All right, so just trying to give you guys a heads up on that. All right, so let's go as we continue on in chapter 2 here. Let's go and begin to look at these exercises. All right, you will notice his accent marks, the acute, the grave, and the circumflex. He'll emphasize that idea. So the acute is the most versatile. It stands on any one of the last 3 syllables. The circumflex can stand only on a long syllable. This is the reason why I wanted you to know what the long syllables were. The eta, the omega, that's always long. The alpha, the iota, the upsilon, may be long or short depending on the word itself. You see where I start having problems is because depending on how long you pronounce it or as you're saying it, does it make a long alpha sound or a short alpha sound? You know, well, whenever I'm sitting there reading it, sometimes that just don't click in my mind. It might in yours. I hope it does. So now let's go down to 2.8. All right, 2.8 in the book on page 9. Let's pronounce some of these words. Practice pronouncing the following Greek words. So if you have your books, let's say it. The first word. Who wants to try that one? I hear everybody jumping in there and volunteering. Everybody jumping in there volunteering. Who wants to say the first word? It's easy. Lu-ace. Lu-ace. Now notice where the emphasis, Lu-ace. All right, Lu-ace. When we start in the verbs, and we'll start in that in the next lesson, okay? Verb endings make a difference, all right? Lu-ace. Next one down. Lu-u. Lu-usen. Lu-usen. Say it. Lu-usen.
Lu-usen.
Lu-usen. So you see, the more you say this, these Lu-ace, Lu-usen, Lu-usen. All righty? Who wants to take the next one? Boy, y'all aren't really. All right, let's work with it together. Lambanomen. 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 You see that, right? Okay. You notice the syllables. Now notice there is a four-word or four-syllable word. Again, the accent is on the acute, which is the second syllable. Lambanomen. Lambanomen. Okay. All right. The next word. Who's going to go for the next word? Simple two-syllable word. Pharaoh. Very good. Very, very good. Pharaoh. But that's not the guy, okay? That is a verb in the Greek. So just remember, it's not that. All right, who's going to go with the next one? Come on. Tauta. Tauta. And again, the emphasis is on what? Tauta. Now notice, did you hear the circumflex? Tauta. Tauta. You go up and then go back down with it, right? Tauta. Tauta. All right. The next word. Ready? Let's say it together. Erkomatha. 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 All right, now, anybody having problems with that? Let's say the letters. Epsilon, rho, chi, omega, or excuse me, omicron, mu, epsilon, theta, and alpha. Erkomatha. 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 All right. All right, who wants to take the next one?
No, toes.
Very good. Good job. All right, now you said it in syllables. Now let's say it all together. Thanatos. Thanatos. The emphasis is upon that first syllable, thanatos. That is the Greek word for death. So whenever you sometimes read words called thanatology, it's the study of death. Okay? All right. All right, who wants to take the next one? That was a great job, brother. Great job. Next one. Doron. Doron. Again, doron. The circumflex, you would start low, go high, and doron. Doron. That is the word for gift. All right? That is the word for gift. All right, now notice here you've got two vowels together, an iota and an epsilon, and then a rho and a diphthong at the end. Ieru. Ieru. Ieru.
Ieru.
Ieru. Ieru. That is a word for temple. Ieru. Word for temple. All right? Ieru. Now notice, because you have the three syllables, you have to actually say both of those vowels. Ieru. 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 All right? Next one. Y'all are doing good. Y'all are doing very well. So just don't get discouraged. Everybody, come on, speak the next one. A. Remember, the EI makes a what sound? The epsilon iota makes a what sound? Like in height. 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 All right, so irene, 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 irene. What's throwing you off? Anything throwing you off? Those rows throwing you, do you want to pronounce the P there? Is that part of it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's part of it. So again, you got to try to get out of that thought. So most of those, you know, some of those are pretty simple to get, but some of them we struggle with. All right. The next one.
A Mayron.
A Mayron. Very good. A Mayron. What? What did you say? You got it. A Mayron. All right, the next one. Now you have, again, another one of those diphthongs. Upsilon and iota make a what? We. And notice this. Look, is you have a rough breathing on it. So the other one, a Mayron. So you make a ha. It's not a Mayron. It's a Mayron. I apologize. I should have caught that. The next one's going to say huios. 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 Huios, like queen. Huios. Huios. That is the word for son. Okay? Huios. Huios. All right. We having fun yet? You're speaking Greek. Rejoice. Now, before it's all over with, by the end of this quarter, you're going to know a lot of these words and you know exactly what they're talking about. All right? All right, the next word. Now notice the breathing on this, and also notice where the accent is. The accent is on the first syllable. So, is this a rough or a smooth breathing? Smooth breathing, very good. So you're not going to make a huh sound, and so it's going to be simply hey gagon, hey gagon, hey gagon, or hey gagon, hey gagon. Okay, hey gagon. All right.